Hi there. Welcome to the Imperfect Profit podcast for women who wonder. Frankly, as we go through life, I'm sure we wonder about a great deal. First as little kids, then as adolescents, then as young women, then as transitional women. What are we calling ourselves these days? And then you get to this point in life, or my point in life, when you're postmenopausal and wondering what's next. Wondering if the parade already passed you by. Join me, Wonder Wendy. I'm going to be your host as we talk about some of these unique challenges that face women today in a new millennium, going through menopause and trying to live a rich, full life. There might even be a few men and younger women that want to listen in too. That's okay. But there's a roller coaster and we're all on it. And I'm going to be your guide to help you figure out when you should close your eyes, when you should hang on, and maybe we'll explore some ideas for what works for you if it doesn't work for me, or vice versa. So join the conversation, pick up your favorite beverage, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet.
There's a refrain that seems to start right around Christmas time. And if I'm honest, I'm a little bit over it. New year, new you. And I want to pause right there and ask this question. Why is it we're expected to become someone entirely new just because the calendar flips? Now, January has a way of doing that to us. It quietly, and sometimes not so quietly, suggests that who we are right now isn't enough to carry us forward, that we should reinvent ourselves, overhaul our lives, rewrite the story. Now, despite the dramatic headlines, newer studies suggest that holiday weight gain averages far less than the infamous 5 to 10 pounds that we've heard repeated for years. Why is this important? Because it's about the way our environment makes us feel and not reality. More often, we simply feel heavier after richer foods, sweeter treats, less movement, and a season full of sitting and celebrating. You know, those short days and long nights of the solstice, they lure us into hibernation, longer sleep, less movement, and our bodies respond accordingly. Then that physical discomfort gets translated into a story. Something must be wrong with me. Oh, and that marketing world is more than happy to prey upon your insecurity, sending all of us, not you, not just me, all of us into a flurry of messages everywhere we turn, new habits, new goals, new versions of ourselves. As if who we've been, who we are, isn't good enough to bring us into the new year. Well, let's get rid of that notion. Now, January can be a beautiful time to begin again. The holiday madness fades, the decorations come down, maybe creating a little bit more space in your life. And there's time and quiet, maybe a little more possibility. And if you want to lean into your dreams, well, this may be the time to do it. Although there's never a bad day to start. Hey there, and welcome back to The Imperfect Prophet, a podcast for women who wonder. I've got my hydration handy. We got to restore some balance here, and I hope you have yours. I'm your host, Wonder Wendy, and this is a space where we talk about living a wonder-full life. Not about being perfect, but being present, curious, and brave enough to listen to those quiet nudges that say, there's more for you. Today's episode is about starting a new year without erasing yourself, honoring who you are while still choosing to grow. Same you, still becoming, just a little more wonderful. Even if you're starting this year tired, you are not behind. It's okay if you aren't motivated. You're not broken. Have you ever been in an unfamiliar place and finally found one of those big map boards, the kind mounted on a wall or standing in the middle of a plaza? You scan the whole thing, trying to orient yourself, and then you realize the most important thing is not what you're looking for. It's not the destination. It's that little X that says, you are here. Until you find yourself on the map, none of the rest of it makes any sense. You can't decide where to go next if you don't first acknowledge where you are. Pretending you're somewhere else doesn't help. Wishing you were further along doesn't move you forward. The map only works, well, when you tell the truth. And the same is true at the start of the new year. Sometimes the most powerful way to begin isn't with a goal or a resolution, but with honesty, with naming your energy level, your capacity, your hopes, and your hesitations, with saying, this is where I am right now, and letting that be enough. From that place, movement becomes possible. That's the place where the next step becomes visible. And then growth begins without shame, without pressure, without pretending. Although sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, you do. But I still want you to be an honest version of yourself. If you're feeling reflective, hopeful, cautious, or just a little resistant to all the new year, new you noise, you are in exactly the right place. It's okay to feel worn out. It's okay to need rest and restoration. Make a plan to rest. Make a plan to hydrate. It's amazing how often we feed our bodies thinking it's hunger, only to discover that we really needed water, sleep, or inspiration. And if you're not motivated yet, let me say this clearly again. You are not broken. In this episode, we're talking about why you don't need a new you to start a new year. You don't need to erase who you've been. You don't need to rewrite your story. You don't need to overhaul your life to move forward. You are already enough, already becoming, and I know that because you're listening to this message. You're already on your way. You're just looking for the X on the map. Now let's work on that future version you think you're supposed to become later. This conversation is about honoring who you are right now and choosing small, intentional ways to be, let's say, just a little bit better, more honest, more aligned, more you. No reinvention required. No performative resolutions. No pretending you're starting from scratch. Let's face it, in midlife, there's not much we haven't already tried. Although, who knows? The gym you went to 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago may not be the gym that's available to you today. So maybe we don't rule everything out because I tried that before. Right now, be present. Adjust your perspective and enjoy a wonderful willingness to grow. The other day I got an email. I have this guy who sends me an inspirational quote almost every workday. And it feels especially relevant right now. The quote was from James Clear. He's the author of Atomic Habits. I might have to go read that. Anyway, here's the quote. Many situations in life are similar to going on a hike. The view changes once you start walking. You don't need all the answers right now. New paths will reveal themselves if you have the courage to get started. Ooh, that line holds so much wisdom because so many of us are waiting for clarity before we begin. We want the whole map, the full plan, the guarantee we won't feel won't fail or feel foolish. You don't want to feel fail. Anyway, that was a tongue twister. We won't fail or feel foolish. We want that assurance, but life doesn't work that way. The longest journeys rarely begin with a dramatic leap. They begin with a step. And that step is often ordinary. It can be something mundane, like putting on your sneakers and getting off the couch. If you don't normally exercise, walking around the block can feel enormous, even if it doesn't look like much from the outside. The next day, maybe you go 2 blocks. That's still the beginning of a transformation story. Remember that. And this is what I really want you to hear today. You don't need to hustle your way to becoming someone else. You don't need to throw out what's working just to prove you're growing. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with you. This episode is meant to meet January where it actually lives. In tired hearts, in quiet hope, in that steady resolve that says, I'm still here and I'm still becoming. Because a new year doesn't require a new you. Before we rush into plans for 2026, I want to invite you to do something gentler and far more powerful. Take a few minutes to remember what you accomplished in 2025. Not just the big, obvious wins, but the ways you showed up, the ways you stayed, the ways you kept going. Not every win is a trophy. As a matter of fact, most of them aren't. Some wins are private and they're easy to overlook. A win might be this. You made it through something. A family gathering, a painful travel delay, the flu, or maybe something more epic. Cancer, surgery, job loss. You know what you've faced. Maybe a win was letting go. You cleaned out the junk drawer. You donated the clothes in the back of the closet that had been cluttering things up and congesting your personal space. You forgave yourself or someone else. Yeah, that's letting go. Maybe you began something. You learned how to do something new. You started reading again. You said yes to curiosity. That's a big one. Maybe a win was apologizing. Not because you were wrong or they were right, but because you valued that relationship more than your pride. That's a big one. Please give yourself a great big gold sticker for that if you've done it. Yeah. And maybe winning was holding a boundary. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's your journey. But I won't be there. Or maybe a win was staying soft. You made room for something that mattered deeply to someone else. Even when, it didn't change much for you, but for some reason you were hanging on to that win. Trust me, it's not a win. The win is finding room for everyone to grow. All those count. All of them count. So what if you didn't run the marathon you meant to run this past year? So what if you didn't get the job you wanted to get? That doesn't mean you failed. It means it wasn't time. Don't discard what you did well. Focus on that. Just tweak, refine, grow from this point. Make a deeper commitment, not to becoming someone else, but to the remarkable person you already are. Here's a little exercise that is genuinely good for the soul. Text 2 people you trust and say, and if texting isn't your thing, send them a letter, send them an email, do whatever you need to do to communicate with 2 people you trust. and say, I'm reflecting on 2025. Will you tell me one thing you saw me do well this year? Anything at all? One way you saw me grow or show up. Save their words. Don't argue with them. Just receive them. Whether they write back or record a voice memo, those messages become your cheerleaders when self-confidence wanes. Instead of soft launching your pain or vague posting, proactively ask for support. Stop hinting. Start asking. It's okay to ask for a love letter from the universe or from a trusted friend. I gave up on resolutions years ago. They rarely made it through January. Only one ever really stuck, walking 10,000 steps a day in 2021. I did that for the better part of 2 years. And after those 2 years, my husband begged me to stop. Those occasional 11 p.m. walks to complete my step count were stressing him out. And he was right. Did the world come to an end because most days I walked 10,000 steps or more, but one day I didn't quite hit my goal? Why should I punish myself like that? We're all too good at punishing ourselves for not hitting our goals. But I'll tell you what really stuck after those 2 years. Moving more became a part of who I am. Habits stick when they become your identity. And I posted how much I was walking on my social media, so people hold me accountable. Are you still walking all the time? I still hear that. Resolutions fail when they're vague or punishing. You don't need a 20-mile change today. Think of it this way. If a ship leaves port, and they're just 1 degree off course, I actually had to research this one. If this ship went from Manchester, England to Greenland, and it's 1 degree off course getting out of port, it can end up more than 20 miles from where it was intended to land. That's the power of small changes. Small shifts, compounded over time and distance, matter. Now, changing one small habit, that's your 1 degree adjustment. You won't notice it on day 1, but over weeks and months, it will quietly change where you land. So maybe all you need this year is a 1 degree shift. Now, this episode that you're listening to right now pairs really well with last week's conversation about the space between fantasy and plan. If you didn't listen to that one, I suggest you go back because it'll go well. And this feels like the next step on a wonderful journey. One that doesn't rush you forward, but invites you to walk with a little more intention. Same you, just better. Not because you fixed something, not because you reinvented yourself, but because you chose presence over pressure, honesty over hustle, and growth that fits the life you're actually living. Get off the couch. Take the occasional 20-minute nap. Stay hydrated. Yeah, I need another sip. Keep looking for the wonder in everyday life. And as always, if this episode made you think of someone, this is your cue to reach out. Share it. Maybe with that comforting beverage. Share the wonder. It grows when you do. Until next week, stay hydrated. I'm Wonder Wendy, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Like what you heard here today? Then we should be friends. I suggest you join my Facebook group. It's a good way to connect. We can have a conversation. Ask me questions, whatever you want to do. It is called the Wonderful Bucket List Life. That's Wonder-Full Bucket List Life. Be a bucket lister and join me on this adventure. Or you can go to my webpage, which is Wonder Wendy and Friends, join the mailing list, learn about the book I wrote, adventures that are coming up in the future, and other podcasts. I look forward to talking to you soon, and stay hydrated. Have a great day.